Now, ever heard this phrase? Fire no! Or say you're working down here 100 years ago and you hear that. What if the glory hole's not made yet, so you can't get out that way, and it's a half a mile to get out the entranceway? These guys were actually in the mine during a blast. Now, one thing I saw a while back was a movie called Independence Day. There's one scene I liked pretty good. There was a big old fireball shooting down a tunnel. There's a little maintenance room, fireball shot past. That was done just like that right here 100 years ago. They were in the mine during a blast. They simply call this area a safety hole or safety room. The only difference is when you blast, it's not a fireball. There's a wall of air pressure, like a shock wave. Shock waves go straight. You're back here, shock wave passes. But there's still a lot of pressure on you back here. Knock the wind out of you real quick. Got to get ready for it. Once you get to the back, you get down, put your fingers in the ears as tight as you can get them. Not for sound, it's for pressure. You have to open the mouth, let the air out that way, not that way. So when you hear that, it don't mean get out. It means get out of the way. Because they were in the mine during a blast. Our very first tour of this mine was October 1991. And for all these years giving tours, we had to stop right here at the safety hole. Last spring, we opened a new section. I basically waited 14 years for this. So really only a handful of folks have ever seen this part on tour. As we come around the curve, watch your head. When this mine shut down 100 years ago, they hoped to sunbathe mine again. All their tools, equipment, they just put everything down. They left the mine, they started waiting. They're waiting for the price of gold to go up or find a cheaper way to get it. But some of their stuff was kind of disappearing, being stolen out of here. Well, do you fix that problem? They used dynamite, close it up, no one got in, made sense. Except for a few things. It took 74 years for the price of gold to go up. That was 1980. There was a big metal scam. A couple of guys known as the Hunt Brothers. Gold, silver, platinum, everything sky high. January of 1980, gold was $849 an ounce. You could make some money down here, except for part two. The water couldn't get out. So for that 74 years, this place was filling up with water. Now, our boss man come out of Kentucky. He bought the place in 1980. I mean, he bought it to mine for gold. You know, gold's high. Buy mine, make money at it. And you still couldn't. Because every time it rained, that 74 years, that mud and stuff come off the mountain, come right down that glory hole, like a giant funnel. So these tunnels are filled up with mud and stuff. So the only time in history you can make money mining here, couldn't. And then in 1988, we decided to open for tours. But that means we got to clean the place out first. So in '88, we dug open the entranceway. The water shot out of here for 10 days and drained for 12. Over 20 days just to drain the water out. Then we started shoveling. You guys heard a show on TV called Dirty Jobs? They ain't got nothing on us. We had our own here. Before our first tour, we shoveled out of here by hand 4,000 tons of mud. That took 3.5 years. To give that first tour here cost about $500,000. And because of all the mud cleanup, this is a new section just opened up last spring. And we still can't take tours all the way through the mountain. There's still about a foot of mud down there. But eventually we'll get that. We work at it little by little, and eventually we'll take tours all the way out the other side to show you what's left of the mill area and bring it back over. But here's the thing. This is the first level. There's 2 more levels below us we ain't got to yet. Supposedly, this mine has 200 tunnels. They're in 3 different levels. This is a 5-mile tunnel system. So this is by far the biggest mine ever built this side of Mississippi. But for sure how big it is, no one knows. The lower 2 levels are still filled up with mud, all the way to the top of the elevator shaft. Eventually, I hope we get to the bottom of this place. I want to see what's down there and maybe take tours to the bottom to show you what we found. Now, here's the thing. About everything we've found so far, all the tools and equipment, all that stuff we found buried in the mud for 80 years still works. Most everything still works, including what I'll show you next. This is what we call the drifter, used to drill holes in solid rock. Basically, from my own research, I believe this drill was first designed in 1888. The guy's name that done it was Edward Alice. He had the Edward P. Alice Company. He designed it to fix all the problems they had with what they called a hammer drill. The hammer drill was used first here. The hammer drill had 4 basic problems, so I call it the problem drill. First problem, a small one, was 90 to 100 pounds. The drill didn't even turn. The first drills didn't turn, they basically pounded it only. To get a hole in solid rock, you gotta have 2 parts. Like using a chisel and hammer, you gotta hit it, but also turn it. You gotta hit, turn, make your hole. A hammer drill don't turn, pounds only. So you gotta hold up a 100-pound drill, wiggle it back and forth to hit and turn. You made a bunch of dust float around the air. You got silicosis, black lung. They often called it the widowmaker, and very famous for getting stuck. If the dust is not cleaned out a hole in time, that dust packs like concrete around that drill bit. Got it stuck. So think about it. You got a drill that's 100 pounds, don't turn, does in the air, and got stuck. So they got the drifter that fixed all 4 problems. The thing is though, Edward Alice never got to see it. He died the next year before the first one got made. The first one got made about 12 years later, when his family had started a company called Allis-Chalmers. Went to making tractors by 1914. Before that, they made this stuff. Jacks, drills, winches, air compressors. Thomas Chalmers, his name was on the stamp mill with a guy named Fraser. They made about 90% of this mine's equipment before they even got together as a company. Well, with this drill, Mr. Alice fixed all those problems. It only weighs about 60 pounds. That's a good 30, 40 pounds lighter than a hammer drill. He found a way, off air pressure, to make the drill bit turn and pound at the same time. What he designed and didn't get to see was the world's first impact drill. But he took it a step further, added a second lever for water. And not to cool it down like today's drills, but for the dust. So they shot water in the hole, and dust is on the floor, not floating in the air. The holes are washed out clean and don't get stuck. So you got air and water on the same drill. Designed 1888. This one, the date on it is 1903. So what you see here is 104 years old. We found it in 1988, buried in the mud, back here in the old safety hole. This thing's been buried in the mud for 80 years. Still runs 3 times the power of today's jackhammers. Now this thing will fly. And it's hooked up too. So if you like, I can give you a sound demonstration.
Sure.
Now keep in mind, either you guys lefty? I'm lefty. And I believe Edward Alice was lefty. So was a little guy named Ingersoll from Ingersoll Rand. I think he was lefty. That's why everything they made, everything they ever designed, runs backwards. They turn counterclockwise. So today for us lefties, these things work pretty good. Now, OSHA was not around 100 years ago. Now we have those rules and sound regulations for public tours. We're not allowed to run at full blast. That's only 20%. 1/5. Only enough to get it running. Our best guess for our cleanup, they had 8 drills on this first level. So that puts it around 40 times what you just heard. But that sound bounces, builds. You got to figure that in. So imagine 8 drills pounding solid rock, full blast, with the echo, getting louder. So what they had here 100 years ago, Be about 50 times that.